My father's name was Saeed Mohammed Kadri. He was 74 years old, and our father passed away on the 10th of May, 2020, and he was buried on the 12th of May. That was the day of my anniversary, my wedding anniversary, that my father was buried. That was a very tough day, because I remember 13 years ago, on the 12th of May, when I was leaving my house, my parents' house, for the last time. I remember the car leaving the house and Dad chased the car down the road. He didn't want to let me go. And exactly 13 years later, when his funeral cortege was outside the house, I too chased the car down the road, except Dad wasn't coming back home. He was gone forever. It was an amazing connection. We were just two peas in a pod. We disagreed a lot, but then we made up. We always had each other's back. I take comfort in knowing that I know that Dad's gone, but he left a part of him in all of us, in all his children. His wisdom, his charisma, his charm, but most of all, he left his heart.
Loved his sunglasses. Ray-Bans especially. Still got the Ray-Bans.
Yeah,
You got
kept
them.
it.
So my dad's name was Nehemiah. He was 65 years old.
He was born in Bangladesh. Our dad was amazing as a dad. But not only that, he was our best friend. He was our rock. Like, he had a comb over. He always used to make sure he had a fresh shave. You know, he loved wearing suits. And I remember when we used to go to Bangladesh, he used to always wear a suit and have a briefcase. I'm like, Dad, like, you know, can you not just wear pyjamas?
My dad worked a lot. You know, he used to work 2 jobs, and he'd go early morning and come back late. And we'll try and stay awake every night just to see if we can see our dad for like 5 minutes.
But he's always been there for us, and that's something that I'll have a memory of.
TikTok video they did together. Dada.
Go, daddy, go. We got to get out. Go, daddy, go. Now pass it to my bro. Let's go.
My little brother, he watched my dad get ill and deteriorate in front of his eyes, and then be taken away.
So when the ambulance took him, they're like, do you want to hug him? It didn't go through my head because I thought my dad's coming back tomorrow. But now I wish I did. I wish I gave him that final hug. And I wish I told him I love him.
COVID's taken away so much of our rights as humans to be there and comfort our loved ones.
Knowing that we wasn't there for my dad when he took his final breath is something we would live with for the rest of our lives.
My mum, Sue Gordon, she was 60 years old when she passed away last year. She never stopped being a mum. She absolutely loved being a nan. When my nephew arrived, she absolutely doted on him. We used to go to the football together. She was a real avid Crystal Palace supporter. Well, somebody has to be, which sort of rubbed off on me. My mum was very good at crocheting. A couple of Christmases ago, she gave me these. So they're gloves that are made to be like dragon scales. I do remember her giving me these gloves, and you know, they were so cool. You know, being a nurse myself, it was a bit of a shock when, you know, when she first started getting symptoms, because we just couldn't figure out where it was she got it from. And I said, look, she's not responding to treatment. She isn't going to get better, and we're considering palliative care. Yeah, it was just absolutely gut wrenching. You know, having to ring your family with that news. Yeah, I think having to being the one that gets the phone calls and then having to call everybody else to say that she's not going to make it. When you lose someone, it's hard anyway. It's difficult, you know. 1 minute they're with you and the next minute they're not. But with COVID, people have just gone so quickly to a virus that didn't exist a year and a half ago.
My dad's Bryan Whittaker. He was 79 last year. Yeah, he was born in Fleetwood. If you're born in Fleetwood, you're known as a codhead. So my dad was a true codhead. Dad in the Navy, looking so young, so dapper.
when he was on one of his leaves, he met my mum and got married, and along came me. He was very popular. If he was walking down the main street in Fleetwood, somebody would stop him. It could take 2 or 3 hours just to get down the main street. That's my dad in Cuba. He absolutely loved his holidays in Cuba. We both did. Our favourite place to go. And when I says to him, "Come on, Dad, let's take a selfie," he says, "What the bloody hell do you mean, take a selfie?" He had no idea that you could take a photograph of yourself with your own phone. I never expected when I went to the hospital that day that he would die that day. I didn't think it'd be so quick. I sat with him and I just held his hand and just kept telling him how much I loved him, and I just said, "If you want to go, Dad, you don't have to stay for me." He wasn't a number, he was a person. He was my dad, and he was loved, and he was a lovely, lovely, lovely man. He really was.